Now, for the past few years, we at the Verb have been collaborating with Arts Council England and our other partners, including New Writing North and the Writing Squad, to run the Verb New Voices scheme, finding and nurturing fresh talent and guiding it towards the stage, the page and the microphone. Carmen Marcus is from the cliff-hanging town of Saltburn by the Sea, and as she's confessed, she strives to live up to the words of her primary school teacher who said of her work, "Weird, -1 point." Her Book of Godless Verse examines her lapsed Catholicism in an interactive fashion, inviting readers on social media to help redraft and complete the work. For the Verb, she's been working on a piece inspired by this project. So, Carmen, let's hear it and then we'll talk about it.
Certainly. As a lapsed Catholic, the opening poem to the Book of Godless Verse, of course, had to be Breaking Up with Jesus, and that's what I'll be reading to you this evening. So, breaking up with Jesus. The night is perfect, deep. It knows what it wants, as a body does, as water does, but I can't sleep. It's not me, it's you. I can still smell you on the sheets, still feel you in my fingertips, sore from counting off my prayers when you were an angel, pale and titless as the moon, and I was May-white dresses, sit still, go to school, sucking tutti fruities right down to their soul. I said I love you first. My mum said I should, so I did. But it was her I loved. I heard you, not words, just your white bird, just the pages of your book breathing in my ear. Do you hear that? Fluttering in the chimney breast like a child breathing. You want me to think it's you, that you're back like you promised, trick me into believing it's your desert dust. But you've never seen the snow, never flown away from winter, so you couldn't know. It's just that old nest falling, shush. Remember Christmas at the little school? You promised to make a world. In a pudding-licked afternoon, you took an orange, stuck the corners with jelly tots, but you forgot the sea. After, in some dirt-red corner of your other world on Kirsty's new TV, the moon-bellied children's eyes filled with famine flies. That night, I licked the sugar from my lips. I said, please, to hold them safe out of your reach. I prayed, and praying slept, slipped soundly between the sheets. My little hands were steepled, holding only one another, and whilst I slept, you killed them, one by one. After the first death, I couldn't sleep for the stars, their prayerless hum. Do you hear that? Fluttering behind the brick like a child in a belly. But if you had made this earth with your own body and birthed it, you wouldn't waste your agony in gardens over money. It's just that old nest, string and sticks falling down, shush. My dad didn't like you much. He preferred birds. He'd wake me up on blue-tip mornings. Look out, he'd shout, and kneeling on my bed, I'd see the cocky blue and yellow dip of it. Downstairs, the radio on, the pip-pip chirp of that day's war. We played war when it thundered. Dad hid me under the stairs, and he stood outside the door on lookout, so I wouldn't see him shaking, but I felt him through the floor. He said, Christ. But I know it wasn't you he wanted. He was talking to the dead. Was it all right, he asked, that it was me, not you, who lived? Do you hear that? Fluttering. That could be the rain, running down my back or the chimney breast. You want me to think it's you, but you're angry as hot sand, and the effortless eternity of water makes you mad. Shh. You didn't come to my father's funeral. I was 19. You didn't like the fisherman's church or the seal-eyed women who kept it clean. But you showed up later for the party and you told me not to drink. You tried to impress my family. You said you could walk on water like a lizard, or we laughed at you. Every one of us remembers being born, pops, plump and hairless into the water. We have our festivals. We wear red clogs and we eat sugared oranges, and we do not trust you, desert boy, to deliver us a safe wave when you've only ever paddled in someone else's tears. You can't teach us how to keep on living with our dead, with your dry and many lives. I took my hair into my father's hat and I listened for his breathing. Do you hear that? Fluttering. Or you want me to think it's a heartbeat? That it's your love trapped behind brick, and if I beat myself against the wall, I'll earn it? Shush. My first Jesus lover, he made me sweet Earl Grey tea in his attic library. He had this 5-disc CD player full of blue-lipped lady singers, but he didn't like the way the floor creaked when I danced. So he hushed my body with long dresses until I bit the cuffs down to my skin. When I told him it was over, that I couldn't live without me, he said, "Kiss my feet before you leave." And he put his hands around my neck and squeezed, because he said he loved me, and it hurt. Jesus, how could I love a man like that? And after love didn't kill me, Kirsty took me dancing on the beat. It was love that wanted me whole, so I let her music pray me. Do you hear it? There is something in the chimney breast. Is it you? Are you stuck? I put my hands up inside the fireplace, touch greasy soot. Both hands now cup your feathered pulse. My thumbs frightened your heart will burst. Shush. Shush. Dust and cough and spit, and then you come, a bird. I open and you open out of me. It was always a bird. Behind the faith of brick, its wet eyes shining, prayerless as the stars. We're done. Jesus, God, whatever. We're breaking up. It's not you, it's me. It's not the notness or the being of you that I'm disputing. You know, I might even be okay with the possibility of some other entity, something too beautiful to be trapped inside a book, but whatever that is, it's not you. And as lonely and as hard and as shaming as it is, I am the mother of my own life. Faithless soul, I am covered in soot and shit, and if that's not love, I don't know what is. So if anyone can make me a better world with only dirt and oranges, it's not you, it's me.
Thank you very much, Carmen. That was fantastic. You've taken a very conventional form there, the idea of the prayer. But it seems to me that what's happened in there, you've asked what shape prayer leaves when faith is gone. So it's about absence in a way.
It is completely. Certainly for me, when I started researching the Book of Godless Verse and writing it, I realised that I had to work out what that absence was, because it was a very real presence. And I looked at Dawkins and I looked at Hitchens, and we have these beautiful reasoned arguments for why God doesn't exist. But the hole left behind by faith, it's not a reason-shaped hole, it's a love-shaped hole.
Because it does seem to me that even without faith, as you say, there's this sense of immanence, as they call it, of there's a hauntedness in the poem. So what is the haunting, do you think?
The haunting, for me, is the real, because being brought up, and my mother was Irish Catholic, so always the unseen was manifest. So there was a presence of the angels and the saints. And so for this piece, what's really haunting us is the real, and the fact that we're missing the miracle of the real. I
like that phrase, pudding-licked afternoon. That feels fantastically personal, the blue-ticked afternoon as well. So all of it comes from your own experience, the whole poem?
No, not all of it. For the development process, I wanted to make a poem that could really speak to people. And so I went out and I interviewed a whole range of people. I'm still doing those interviews. And I spoke to people who had experience of war and who've had experience of cancer. And so the line where I explained that he said Christ, but I know it wasn't you he wanted, he was talking to the dead. Why was it me who lived is a question survivors often ask of themselves. And they feel that bargain is going to shut down on them at any moment when they've had a life-death experience.
Thanks very much to Carmen Marcus. Carmen.